You know that feeling, right? You wake up, your heart is pounding, your mind is just reeling from this epic adventure. Maybe you lived a whole lifetime or had this incredible escape that felt like it went on for days. And then you look at the clock, and it's only been 10 minutes. How on earth is that possible? Okay, let's dive into this amazing paradox of dream time.
I mean, really, think about it for a second. Have you ever had a dream that was so big, so detailed, that it felt like years went by, only to wake up in the exact same bed on the exact same morning? It's one of the most common and, frankly, one of the most mind-bending things we all experience. And today, we're going to figure out why it happens.
And this, right here, is the heart of the whole puzzle. On one side, you've got your experience, what it felt like. Whole saga's unfolding, right? But on the other side, you have the cold, hard, scientific reality. Most of our dreams, even those super long ones we have right before waking up, they last at most maybe 30 minutes. So how does our brain manage to fit an entire feature film into what's basically a commercial break?
So, to solve this, the very first place we have to look is at time itself. What actually happens to our perception of time the second we fall asleep? You know, when the outside clock stops ticking for us, what takes its place?
Okay, so here's the crucial difference. When we're awake, our sense of time is constantly being anchored by the world around us. You know, the sun coming up, the clock on your phone, the back and forth of a conversation. These are all external cues. In a dream, all of that is gone. Your brain is completely sealed off from the outside world. So it has to be its own storyteller, its own set designer, and most importantly, its own clock. And let me tell you, when the brain is the only one in charge, it gets to make up its own rules.
All right, so if our brain is the one making the rules, we need to take a look under the hood. Let's go a little deeper and meet the brain's very own dream director to see what's really going on during this whole time-bending show.
This is just fascinating. The part of your brain that's basically the sensible adult in the room, the prefrontal cortex, well, it pretty much takes a nap during REM sleep. This is your center for logic, for reasoning. It's the part that would normally step in and say, hold on a minute, you can't fly and also your dog can't talk. With that center powered down, all the strange, nonsensical events of a dream just get accepted as totally normal, which might actually have a purpose. It could let our brains make all these new creative connections without being so judgmental.
But while the logic center is quiet, other parts of the brain are throwing an absolute party. Your emotional centers, your visual centers, they are hyperactive. This is exactly why dreams can feel so incredibly real and emotionally powerful, sometimes even more real than reality itself. So you've got this wild combination of low logic and high emotion, which is, the perfect recipe for a world where time doesn't really have to make any sense.
So we know our brain's in a pretty weird state, but that still doesn't quite explain how we live a lifetime in a single night. And that brings us to the absolute core of this mystery. It turns out it's not really about time at all. It's about memory. So let's just put the question right out there.
Is our brain literally slowing down time? Are we experiencing more of it while we sleep? Is this some kind of mental time travel?
And the answer, which is so surprising, is no. The real secret to the dream time paradox isn't about time stretching. The big twist is that the illusion of that epic, hours-long dream isn't created during the dream itself. Nope. It's created in the few seconds right after you wake up. Okay, think of it like this. While you're dreaming, your brain is just taking in a whole bunch of fragmented images, feelings, and random moments. Then you wake up. In that split second, your logical brain wakes up too and scrambles to make sense of everything. It acts like a movie editor, taking all these chaotic little clips and stitching them together into a story that makes sense, with a beginning, a middle, and an end. It's that final edited movie, the memory of the dream, that feels long, not the actual dream itself. And just remember what our little film editor has to work with. This entire epic story is being built from a really, really short clip. Even the longest, most vivid dreams we have, the ones right before morning, they typically max out at just 30 minutes.
But in that tiny window, the potential is just limitless. Like this quote says, the mind can skip from childhood to adulthood in an instant. Our dreaming brain doesn't need to show us all the boring parts in between. It just jumps from one important scene to the next, and our waking mind instantly fills in the gaps, creating that feeling of a full, complete story. But wait, it's not just a memory trick. There's another really powerful force at play here, and that's emotion. So let's take a look at how our feelings can literally warp our perception of time, both when we're wide awake and when we're fast asleep.
You've definitely felt this before. Think about a moment of intense fear, like a near miss in a car, where time just seems to slow down to a crawl.
That's happening because your brain is going into overdrive, recording a massive amount of detail to help you survive. Well, the exact same thing applies to dreams. Intense emotions make the brain pay way more attention, creating a denser, richer memory that just feels like it must have taken longer to happen.
So it makes sense, right? The more emotionally packed your dream is, the longer it's going to seem when you look back on it. A dream that's full of tension or incredible beauty or just this feeling of deep wonder or danger, it feels more significant. And our brain translates that significance into time. A boring dream, on the other hand, we forget it in a second. So, when we combine the brain's clever editing process with the raw power of emotion, it leads us to this really profound final idea. In our minds, time isn't a clock. Time is just a story.
The key concept here is something called narrative time, not clock time. Just think of a movie montage, where you see a character grow from a teenager into a world champion in just 2 minutes of screen time. The timeline serves the story, not the other way around. Well, our brain does the exact same thing every single night.
And this is the big idea that ties it all together. This quote really says it all. Our sense of time isn't some rigid external thing that we just observe. It's a flexible, totally subjective experience that our own minds build, moment by moment. And our dreams, well, they're just the most powerful proof of that we've got.
So that leaves us with one last kind of mind-blowing thought to chew on. Our dreams prove that our consciousness can bend and reshape one of the most fundamental forces of the universe. It can create its own time. And if it can do that, what other worlds, what other realities is it capable of creating?